Good evening. Welcome to the Carr Brothers Live on Facebook and CHCO. Welcome to tonight's show. My name's Jody Carr.
And I'm Jeff Carr, the second of the third Carr brothers. Tonight, Jack sends his regrets. We're not sure if he will actually show up mid episode, but he does have prior commitment with some courses he's taken at St. Thomas University. So he does send his regrets, and we'll try to fill the void without him, Joe.
We'll try. We'll get the comments from him after if he can't join us mid-show. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he doesn't show up somehow one way or the other. And, well, it's such a fast week. Went by real fast this week, it seems. We were just here the other day, it almost seems. So, Jeff, what's new in your world here?
What's new in my world? Well, regular legislative duties, which are quiet this week, but a lot of public events, obviously. Remembrance Day on the weekend was a big deal around the riding and around the province. So we did a lot of those events. But I don't know if this is a manatee story that we're going to walk into here or break into. Some people were very agitated by what happened over the weekend or the end of last week with the poll, the Fredericton poll, P-O-L-E, that is. It even created itself its own, I almost said Twitter feed. It's X feed, it's X handle.
Oh, yes.
And the poll actually shared our tweet today and asked us to not be mean because it's very sensitive. So,
correct.
You know, if it's that sensitive, it would have really had a difficult weekend, I'm sure. So, but it did. It created a lot of discussion on social media, and some of it was just people were poking fun at it and kind of. Just making light of the whole subject, but there were other people on social media that were, they were pretty judgmental about who may have been responsible for it or who may not.
Oh, boys, the fingers were being pointed.
It was.
At one time I was so glad not to be in politics. My gosh.
Well, that didn't bother me any.
Well, no. The fingers were pointed, and first it was, a lot of people just thought, who could have imagined doing that? Someone must not have been thinking straight.
What engineer left that in the way? It's like, oh my goodness. So,
and it was called it's a Fredericton, the Lincoln poll.
Lincoln poll, yes.
And apparently it's in the works to be removed, but there is an underground current to try to save the poll. But,
there is, and there may even be a petition.
It could be a petition
online
or
to
two.
Save the poll. So,
and I kind of thought they should move it to the center of the circle, kind of post it in there, just keep it as a memento, I guess, as an icon, and maybe have shuttle buses out to the Marwood poll plant to see maybe where this little guy was born. Maybe there could be some of that, but apparently, I think they must have been balancing between wanting to. You're former Minister of Transportation, you must maybe have some insight on this. Do you think they were trying to balance between opening up the roundabout, because everyone was wondering when's this going to be finished? Yeah. Versus keep having this pole stuck in the way
as a obstruction, I guess.
Then they put this cement barricade, I guess.
There was
once they put 3 there, maybe that helped. But
well, maybe. So I was. It's funny. I was on my way to the Red Wings game Friday night. Roger had a veterans Remembrance Day celebration, I guess, at the hockey game.
Right.
And I was on my way into theirs when I started hearing more and more about it on social media and whatnot. So when I got to the game, I was talking to one of the DTI engineers that was there. He doesn't work in that branch, but we were kind of chuckling about it. And we looked at the photos, and he and I both looked at it, and we were like, well, that looks like it's photoshopped. It's got to be photoshopped. So me being me, on my way home, I thought, I'm going to stop and look. So I actually went down to look, and I had to take a photo, and I posted it on somebody's thread that it's real. It's there.
This is the real deal.
So as far as former Minister of Transportation, I nothing surprises me. But I also am not quick to point a finger because you just don't know who's responsible. Is it the contractor? Is it MB Power? Is it the City of Fredericton? Is it DTI? Is it Bell Lion? You just don't know. But having been on some of those sites before, I could see why it was left there. But I could see why people would be quick to criticize because that roundabout's it's taken so long this summer to finish. But all projects are taking forever to finish, and it's just the season hasn't been great for construction.
What's this on?
Low on labor, things like that. So what I think is, without talking to anybody, I'm making this up.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
If I am a contractor that has signed the contract to do that particular project, there's an end date. And if you go past that end date to completion, you're going to be fined as late penalty, right? So what I'm thinking is they couldn't get the line crews lined up to move all those wires, because if you look at the photos, there's a lot of infrastructure there. Like, it's not an easy job to move all the wires that go with that pole. There's a lot, and you have to coordinate it with your phone and your internet folks and your power. It all has to be moved. So I'm thinking that the contractor said, okay, we can't get the line crews there by a certain start date, so we're going to start without them. And it may be just easier to move that pole when the job is done and all of the equipment is no longer on site. But seems to make sense to me as probably what happened. I haven't had that confirmed by anybody, but if I was a contractor, I would want to be finishing by the end date before I get a penalty.
So it was opened up with that pole just there by itself, right? Like
partially open. I'm not sure if I think you could go.
There was no barricade, no cement, no posts, no nothing. Like looked like to me.
Oh no, there were cement barricades by it though. Well, there was Thursday night
after it was opened up, like a day after it was opened.
But I don't think it was open Thursday day.
Okay. No one was actually driving at it, because that wouldn't make sense.
There was nobody driving through it when I went to look. So I think they put the cement barricades, and somebody obviously must have said it's safe to use it in whatever direction.
Yeah.
I think just Lincoln, Fredericton, that direction, you couldn't go up to the industrial park.
Yeah.
According to Nora Valentino. She's been watching this.
She's in watching tonight too on Facebook Live, right. On the Carr brothers. She's making comments, wants a name now for this. She did say the pole with a capital P, so I think that's probably the unofficial name right now. Could be. But
if the pole disappears, then how do we track it? And do we know if it gets mixed in with other poles at an orphanage or something?
I'll feel kind of sad though if it leaves.
You will, eh?
I will a little bit. Yeah. I will. I was thinking, geez,
So I think from what we understand, or the information we're getting from, we talked to somebody we know at the city of Fredericton who works in their communications department, but I think they indicated that hopefully by the end of tomorrow, everything will be finished and the pole will be gone. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. It was kind
doesn't really put me out any. I mean, I sometimes travel Lincoln Road. Sometimes I go up over the hills. So.
Yeah, I think most people's lives will go on, and we're probably very fortunate that that's the least of our worries is a pole in the middle of a road.
I know.
Compared to considering what's going on now, there you see the photo from earlier.
That's early.
Early. See, I thought, did they open that up and have traffic go by? But I don't think so.
No, I think they waited till they put the barricades there to open it up partially. But moving those wires and that infrastructure would have been difficult with traffic. So I don't know, maybe there was intermittent interruptions.
Well, likely when they do move the pole and the wires, I suppose it will interrupt some traffic as well, right? So just it'll just get over by the weekend, I'm sure. And
so I don't know. So when you're watching these programs and you're listening to podcasts, people say, well, let's do a survey. So, I mean, will anybody else be sad if the pole disappears? Like Jode will be sad? I don't know.
Let's start tonight and see. What else? Now there's, I don't know. People want to talk politics, but I don't know. It's all the same, really. Is there going to be any change? Jack was saying there's polls coming out around this federal politics. This whole federal politics thing. Justin Trudeau is in there now again getting in a fight with the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, today.
Oh, no.
Because he made some comments, and now Netanyahu went on Twitter and responded to him.
Oh.
Did not look good, so he's up in arms against India, then Netanyahu, and these polls are coming out that's showing the Conservatives, Polyev, it's like 200 and some seats for a majority.
I know, it is.
And
so like 205 seats, you need 170 for majority. And the numbers keep climbing. It's almost like nothing's sticking to Polyev.
No, it all goes the other way, which is pretty standard. That it's people vote someone out, not necessarily vote them in, but they're comparing it on Twitter. They're comparing it to 1984 when Brian Mulroney won office, I guess, back that way, and had quite a sweep across the country. Some were trying to compare it to 1993 when Kim Campbell, there was a change in leadership and got reduced to 2 seats. But David McLaughlin was on Twitter saying that he wouldn't quite compare it to 93, but more like 1984.
Yeah,
but
I don't see any of those mainstream parties ever going back down to just 2 seats.
I don't think so. I mean, who knows?
But who knows?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know.
Could happen, I guess, but
I don't know. Then he was in California today, apparently, or
Prime Minister was
apparently up there doing something. I don't know. I'm just reading what the Twitter says. Just the last few comments there, and he was there comparing socks with the governor of of California. So, but who am I to throw stones? I mean, I'm not.
Well, I have fancy socks on today, so I'm not going to judge. I have my curling socks.
So we do have a bit of a poll going on our Facebook comments for the poll in Fredericton. We have Nora Valentino, who will be sad if the poll is removed, and also Andrea Anderson Mason, who's an MLA in Fundy the Isle, St. John West. She also agrees that
she agrees with Nora.
She will be somewhat sad. She didn't say somewhat. I added somewhat, but she will be sad as well. So hopefully there'll be brighter days ahead, though. After all of this.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk to our viewers for a minute on kind of what we see, what we feel, how we'll have our shows going into the future. We thought we would start out 2 or 3 weeks with just ourselves talking back and forth, and we've been watching the comments closely, especially last week, people talking about, like Jason McCaw was talking about, there's more fundraisers coming up, so we could do a show specifically on that. And then we'll get into having guests on. In the very near future. We'll be getting into the Christmas season soon, so we might have a little surprise for that season coming up. But I think we're just going to ease into the guest part and line people up and have them on, and either live with us or we'll Zoom them in, whichever they feel like. We have the screen there behind us.
Yeah, which, speaking of that, I think I should be wearing a different color than yellow next time.
Are you?
I'm kind of blending in. I'm blending in. Good thing it's not a green screen. I'd have half of me missing, I suppose.
Well, it doesn't look so bad.
No, it doesn't look too bad, but
do you think there's a little
match there? But
good.
I don't know. What do the people think?
Well, that's it. The people can tell us in the comments, but I know they do like guests. I know from talking to the viewers over the last year or so, or even when we were on the air, they really enjoyed listening to what people have to say and their perspectives and what they were doing in their lives and things like that. So we're going to get back to that.
I had a question for you. I wondered. I'm putting you on the spot. I know Jack has said this, but it's a kind of a personal question. But it's been 10 years since our grandmother, Nan Ina Carr, passed away.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah, and she was the love of our life, of course, from Gary. And what I wondered is if maybe you had a story or two you could tell about some memory of Nan Carr down in Gary, spending time down there, something fun, something funny.
You are putting me on the spot. But other than our weekly drives to the dump to watch the Bears, which seemed to be a real treat for us. We'd go pick up our great-grandmother, and all the cousins would jump in the car, and we'd go to the store and get a little treat, and then we'd go to the dump and watch the Bears.
Right, and that dump was on the Branch Road in Gary.
It was.
Before these
Gary dump, they called it.
Before these dumps were closed.
They were public dumps. Other than that,
you must have a memory of one of those trips to the dump and something that maybe was fascinating? Or
Well, we see Mr. Carter there a lot, and they would chat with him and about the bears or whatnot. But
you'd see some bears. Remember, we'd see some bears in the tree, and then they'd come out and look, here they come.
But I think some of my favorite memories of her as a kid or teenager growing up would be our walks. She'd take us out walk in the woods all the time out behind home. We still do that now. Yeah. She's been gone for 10 years, and she probably hadn't, before she died, hadn't been out in the woods for quite a while before that. But I think for me, some of my fondest memories are walking out in those woods behind her house and her pointing out where she used to have her horses and
the fence.
When she pastured her horses out there, and she had a duck pond for ducks, and just the way she talked about a lot of those things and those memories was probably some of the fondest times that we had with her. And she'd walk us out through there and around all the apple trees and tell us a little bit of history, and she'd show us how to make wooden whistles, and I have to figure out how to do that again because I forget how to make those wooden whistles.
What about the slingshot? Slingshot, yes, so slingshot.
That would be, some of those things would be
kind of fun.
Yeah. What about you?
We would cut brush out there. Don't forget, we'd have to brush cutting projects, trimming the apple trees or something in the back, and we'd play ball.
What was the date she passed? Do you remember?
No, not really. We'll have to ask Jack. It was September, October.
It was in September, right?
Yeah, I think it was September.
Yeah, and I now and again still run into some of the ER doctors that were on duty at that time.
Yeah.
And have a chat with them, and they remember us from being in the hospital that night. So it's kind of an interesting time. Yeah. What other questions have people been asking us since last week? Where are we filming? That's what some people, a lot of people ask. They're like, is this some secret hideaway place?
And it is, so we can't say.
Right.
But
let's talk a little bit about it.
Yes. Well, we have a new kind of Fredericton-based producer here with CHCO. It's Context Media. And we'd like to thank them for their participation on this show and others. So it's a bright studio here at the Ville, at the old Gibson Neal Memorial School. And it's fantastic. It is. We feel right at home. It's great. Chad does a great job, so we really want to thank him.
Quality.
Very good quality.
Quality, yeah. Gosh. See how good we look?
We do.
We don't normally look this good.
No. And we have Patrick. Our staff has expanded immensely. We have Patrick in St. Stephen at home base, but then up here in Fredericton.
It just worked out so well for us to be able to come here on Wednesday nights, and Chad's here ready for us. The cameras are all set up, the different shots, and he patches us into CHCO.
I think we're just about ready to start the bingo.
We can get promoted to doing bingo.
We might be able to guest call some bingo up here.
Right. So I guess for just a small promotion for Chad. So Chad wants, if you have anybody in the Fredericton area or the capital area, you've got ideas for, you wanted to do some shows or have some recordings done, he's more than happy to talk to you about that. No promises. We don't want to be bumped off our own airtime here.
No.
But there's some opportunity for more local television.
Well, we need more local. The way the CRTC has gone, the way media goes, we need more local, and that's one thing people tell us about our little talk every week or so. We have some local interest in information, a way to connect. So
I know,
so that's the more the merrier.
So maybe what we'll do is in the description on this video, on this live on Facebook, maybe what we'll do is once the show is over, we'll put Chad's contact information in the status of that. We'll edit it, and I think that's what we'll do. And if anybody has any ideas, and rather than, you could flash the information on the screen, but we can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to get, if you have some local news ideas for Fredericton.
What else is coming up? What else is coming up here? I guess Christmas. No, I'm just joking.
Well, it is. It's like 5 weeks away.
My gosh, yes, I know.
It's not far.
Lisa McLaughlin, thank you for backing me up there. Yellow is her favorite color, so the more yellow, the better. That's
The more yellow, the better.
great
It
support.
looks good on there. Look,
It does,
look at the
yeah.
blue background. You
Yeah.
look fabulous.
Yeah,
Look
thanks.
all lawyer-like.
I've always said if we can't pat each other on the back, I mean,
Right,
who
who
can,
will?
right? But
I know.
yeah. Well, I've been having fun. People wonder, oh, how are you doing with
Yeah.
law? What do you think
Tell us
about
about
law?
that.
I said, I love it. It's great. I'm not in public scrutiny with all the politics that goes on. But also, I get to help people in a way that is similar to politics sometimes. But again, it's kind of just under the radar, one-on-one, helping people. I get to pick and choose the work I'm doing. I do property, real estate transactions, wills for people, estates. But I do some workplace investigations, which are interesting and important. But also, I've been doing some human rights cases for clients, mostly in the education field for parents and their children, but also some adults in post-secondary education looking for accommodations and under the legal framework of accommodating having access to services. So that's been good. And some working on some legislation, some policy, and some international stuff still. So so it's been good. It's been good. I have an office in Fredericton and in Ormocto, and
Wow.
it's nice to be accessible to people that way.
So how long you've been doing that for 5 years?
4 years now. So I was at a law school in 2018,
Oh, right.
but I had to article for a year, and then I've been in my own practice, sole practitioner, for 4 years. So it's been fun.
And what would you say is some of your biggest challenges just adjusting to the whole system?
The biggest challenge is trying to get confidence because right from the beginning of law school through law school, I went to UMB Law, which is fine, but most of them I think would be the same. But basically you know very little, and then you still know very little. The law keeps changing, you're always learning, but you feel very inadequate. And the first couple of years you feel inadequate when you're practicing, so you have to rely on colleagues and working with people, and as you get more experience, you gain that confidence. But that was been the big thing, is to adjust. But
So how, and you and I and Jack have really not talked about you adjusting. We've talked about Jack adjusting out of political life. How was that for an adjustment?
Well, it was interesting after politics. First, I think COVID helped, because then there was no expectation to be out in the public. So that was interesting. I had been in politics since I was 20, as you know. And but anyway, so I didn't realize that, I'd get anxious going to public events. And then what happened was, then when you are no longer a politician after that many years at public events and you go out, you're not really sure what you're supposed to do. So that was kind of interesting. It's like, well, am I supposed to? No, you're not supposed to do anything, and nobody cares. But then once you figure that out, then that's okay. But
People, when I go out with you in places, they're happy to see you.
oh,
Yeah,
yes.
They miss you.
Oh, they do. Yes. I love seeing people. And
So tell us about the comeback. I'm just joking.
I know everybody says.
But people do, like,
yeah.
they genuinely do appreciate seeing you when you go, and it's hard. It's hard to. I would think. I've only been doing it for 9 years elected, and 4 after that working for you. But I can see for you, it would be like, well, now what do I do once I get there? Because what you're supposed to do is our canned operation.
Well,
you address everybody in the room, and you go see them and say hi and how you doing.
Yeah, you first get to an event, and then even if they haven't asked you to say greetings or say something, then you might have to expect to say something. So you're kind of thinking, he's there, should I say something? So anyways, and is anyone going to approach you about issues? Well, it's so refreshing when I follow some of the stuff, but not all the details, just a little bit here and there. And so then when I don't know what's going on in government, I don't feel like I have to say anything about it either. So it's kind of good.
Different.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, my goodness.
How much time we got left? I wonder. 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
right.
we still got time.
Okay, we do have lots of time.
But that said, you're still going out around all these.
There's lots
more
going
and more, more is happening now. Recovering from COVID.
It's been picking up, like steady, since COVID got over, obviously, and apparently there's COVID still rolling through the province.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like 1 in 27 or 1 in 30 people have COVID right now, apparently. But And I know some people, some of their symptoms are like they were the first time, some not that bad. But yeah, since COVID has ramped up, but now we're getting into Christmas season. So as a like you say, when you're elected, you're expected to go to all the events, and I do like it. So the Saturdays are pretty full.
What's coming up in the next week? What's coming up in the next week? This week, like this week coming.
This weekend. Well, Friday. And you and I, so now you're going to make me cry. First thing,
I don't know.
Faye Tidd's funeral.
Oh yes,
is on Friday.
yes. Oh gosh,
it's
yes.
Faye Tidd's.
It's so sad. I hate to. I haven't even said anything on Facebook because it's so sad. Just don't know what to say.
I know. So that will be, and that is at the Ormocto Funeral Home. Yeah. So that's going to be small venue for a large person.
Yeah. And then in the afternoon, there's a celebration of life
there is.
Too. So that'll be at the Hazen Center. Yeah. So hopefully so people will get to that.
Yeah. And then as we roll into next week, there's other events that are happening in the evenings, a couple more funerals through the week. And so I'm going to try to get to some of those. We will be sitting in the legislature next week. So went to a chamber event this morning. Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. They had a little parliamentary breakfast with Jenica Atwin. That was interesting. Pretty well attended. Some of the questions were hot button topics on forestry and housing and things like that. So that was interesting. I just stayed at the back and listened. I always like to listen. And I'm, talked to Jenica for a minute after that or two, and she's a very, very busy person. But a lot of familiar faces there. Jack was there this morning with Katie Wallace, one of his realtors, and Mayor of New Maryland, Judy Wilson, she was there, but a wide range of different people from the business sector was there. So that was a good time. And then next week there's another chamber event after hours something, and then into Christmas, there's lots of breakfast coming up on the weekends and Christmas craft sales in Hoyt and Whirl and in the Junction. There's like so much. Everywhere, and in New Maryland too. So, and then the mayors have the receptions. The base commander has a reception, and RCMP has one, and so then, as you know, like all of the organizations, NGOs, the unions, they all have the receptions in Fredericton, and they're generally MLA receptions. So you're kind of expected to go to some of those or most of those. So that takes up just about every evening.
One of your mayors just got sworn in from a by-election.
On Monday night, Lenny Faulkner was sworn in as the mayor of Fredericton Junction. Good on Lenny. He ran previously a number of years ago. And in June, John Bigger retired from being the mayor, and there was a contest. Kyle Mitchell, thank you, Kyle, for going at that and putting your name on. But Lenny Faulkner was sworn in. So, Sharon's November 25th breakfast and crowd, at the Line Center. That's right.
Gary Line Center. And also Sherry Easton has one. There's something this weekend.
So that must be for the, I'm guessing that's for the Tri-County hockey team, the juniors, Sherry? I think that's their breakfast this weekend, maybe?
And did she have an auction for that, or a silent auction? Was that the one, or was that online?
Well, they have had some silent auctions online. I know Sherry's been doing a lot of work with helping fundraise for the junior River Cats for that organization, that hockey team. So there's always lots to do. She says yes. So appreciate you guys sharing that on there. It's important that
I want to
promote those events.
Next time, sometime we're going to do is you can add people into the conversation by video.
You can
on the Facebook. So we're just going to say, do you want to add them in? And I think sometime we're just going to say, Sherry, you want to get in here? We'll add her on and get her to start talking. So,
and I think she would be right up on the broadcast, up in the corner somehow. We better test that.
I think we will.
We'll test that now? First. No, not right now.
But yeah. So our time is limited. No, now what? Oh,
Andrew says, pick me. Oh, I almost deleted the comment.
It's harder as you get closer to the sideline of 50, your eyesight. So anyway,
it's hard to see,
But we had a good chat. Thank you very much. This is the end. We'll see you next week live, Facebook Live. Thank you for watching the Carr Brothers.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a great week.